Jody, are you ready?
Yep, can you hear me?
Yes.
It's a miracle, woohoo!
Woo!
Yeah, so I can't see everybody, so Greg, I'll need your help when we do the discussion part.
Okay.
So, how many people do we have here anyway? Do we have a few people?
We have
I can't
18.
18, right on, excellent. If Alan Little Bear is out there, I'm sorry I ate your wife's potatoes in New Orleans too. Yeah, I don't know if you're out there. Okay, so today Greg asked me to talk about failing forward, and so I actually thought this my topic was in August, but I've been thinking about this for a long time because I don't know. I think this topic is something that has kept me from quitting, and I wish I could see your faces. I can't, but just think in your mind if you've had times in your business where you felt really frustrated and you felt like you wanted to quit because whatever you were doing wasn't really working. Well, if you've felt that way, then maybe tonight is your night. Um, First of all, when we think about failing forward, to me, failing isn't a dirty word. And we talk about failing as being a bad thing, but I actually don't think it is. So I've got a couple of stories that I want to tell you guys, and they're totally true, and they are purely ridiculous, but they're true stories. And this is something that has taught me a great deal in my business and something that I hold on to very dearly. So before I joined Beachbody, I was a distributor with Visalis. Yes, the enemy. I was cheating on Beachbody with the enemy. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with Visalis, but they have the weight loss shake too, and they've got some other products. And at the time, Canadians couldn't be Beachbody coaches. So if I wanted to make some money, that was my best option. So when I got started, I had no idea how to market myself. And I don't know how familiar you are with other marketing companies or network marketing companies, but a lot of them have a lot of rules as to how you market yourself. And Beachbody, we're really lucky because if we want to do Twitter or Instagram, if we want to do local things, they don't have a lot of rules as to how you market yourself. But other network marketing companies aren't necessarily as relaxed with their rules, nor do they give the training that Beachbody does. So I don't know if you're new to the company, but we are very lucky in that regard that we have a lot of training and we have a lot of freedom. So when I started with Visalis, I didn't have a hot clue what to do and very little training. Basically no training. So what I initially thought what I should do is I knew I wanted to create some buzz around my brand or create a brand or get attention. And I'm not kidding here. So I'm going to tell you this story and I'm just totally not kidding. So for some ridiculous reason, I thought I should create this superhero persona, this character. And I thought I'd make a YouTube channel. And have I told you this story, Greg, before? No? Okay, so that's a good one. So anyhow, I thought my kid was really into superheroes and he was about 3 years old, 3 or 4, he wasn't very old, maybe 4. And I thought what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make these YouTube videos and I'll put them on YouTube and Facebook and they'll be really funny and corny and it'll get people's attentions about drinking these Vi shakes. They call them the Vi shakes. And so I don't know if you guys, my camera's really small, so I look reasonably normal, right? So I tried to find the outfit today and I couldn't find it. So imagine I had this huge blonde afro wig, like it was right out to here. And then I got one of these masks and I couldn't find it. But you know those masks, those Mardi Gras masks down in New Orleans that you saw? So I got one of those masks with this big afro wig and bright pink lipstick. And then I put on this purple bikini and black leotards or black stockings with knee-high leather boots. And I tried to adopt this Brooklyn, New York accent, which I'm Canadian, like what the hell was I thinking? Like, I can't do a New York accent. And I got my husband to videotape me doing these kind of, you know how like superheroes or wrestlers, they do these monologues. I was like, and my name was Super Shake Sheila. So my superhero name was Super Shake Sheila. And I was like, I'm Super Shake Sheila, and I'm coming for you, fat ass Frank, and heart attack Harry. I'm gonna kick your ass, fat ass Frank, and I'm gonna make you healthy. And so anyhow, I did a few of these videos, and my son watched me, and I'm sure he was traumatized for life. And They were just horrible. They were just beyond ridiculous. And I used to be a drama teacher, so making a fool out of myself is not something that new. Can you guys still hear me? Okay, anyhow, they were ridiculous. I'm sure I traumatized my kid for sure. And he actually thought that Super Shake Sheila was a real character. He thought he was a real superhero, and he was really into superheroes at the time. And after that, he actually would make me dress up as Super Shake Sheila. Was it a success? No, it was brutal. It was embarrassing. It was humiliating. And I thank God I had the good sense not to actually upload that to YouTube. In fact, I destroyed all evidence. Sadly, I deleted all the pictures and all the videos because they were just god awful. And so anyhow, first story. And was it a success? No, absolutely not. It was terrible. Second story. So I thought, well, okay, Super Shake Sheila didn't really roll. So I thought, well, I'll create a blog. And it was my sister's idea. I thought, I'll make this blog and I'll talk about my own weight loss journey. Very new to blogging, didn't have a clue what to do. So I called it the tight ass train, because what woman doesn't want a tight ass, right? So I thought Jody's in her tight ass train. And I wrote all these blog posts about fitness and nutrition and all this stuff. And at first I thought, this blog is having a huge success. Like, it's getting all these hits, you know, it's getting really a lot of attention, you know, because you could kind of go back and see if people were reading and clicking on the links. But I didn't look closely enough. And after further investigation, after I bragged my ass off about how great my blog was, I went in there and started searching the keywords that people were typing in to find my blog. And it was all sorts of porn. It was porn addicts all over, like, blah, blah, blah. I want to do something to your mom's tight ass. Or it was terrible. It was so thankfully there are a lot of healthier porn addicts out there, because they were reading my weight loss blog trying to find porn in the middle of the night. Again, brutal failure. And my lesson here to you, and I'm not exaggerating, I did do that. I could have quit, but what I thought is, no, those two things didn't work. I got to keep on trucking, because I've got to put food on the table, right? I couldn't work out of home, so I needed to do something. And that's where failure, it's not a dirty word. Yeah, those things, yeah, major flop. But in the years since, I have learned a few things from those two experiences, and one being how to blog and how to create a website. And I didn't stop. I did get rid of the tight ass train, and but it taught me, A, to keep going when the chips are down, but also it taught me to blog and carry forward. So regardless of where you are in your business, what kind of the theme of my little speech here today is going to be, don't be afraid to try stuff. Okay, now there's a disclaimer. The systems that Greg and Brian and everybody teaches, they're good. Okay, so learn from the experts and learn from these guys. Watch Gary Vaynerchuk, watch Ray Higdon, you know, Melanie Mitra, watch the experts and see what they're doing, because what they're doing is working. But also, don't let fear paralyze you so that you don't try stuff on your own. Because I think that's a major flaw, is that we might try one way of doing it because we think that's what we're supposed to do. And then when it doesn't work, we get frustrated and we think, oh, this isn't for me, I suck, well, I'm just going to quit. Rather, if things aren't working, and even if they are, don't be afraid to try other things, because you never know what thing is really going to stick, and you're going to find that gold mine for yourself, because we're all different. And I don't know all of you guys, but the beauty with Beachbody is that we can all run successful businesses because we're all vastly different. And what works for Greg is fabulous, but I'm a completely different person than Greg, so maybe what works for me is something entirely different. And so you guys might find that you might find very successful ways to market yourself that are completely different than what Greg does. Case in point, like the Facebook Live videos and the YouTube videos. Not everybody's comfortable with doing that, so don't be afraid to take a risk. And sure, your few Facebook Live videos might suck, you know, like your first videos might suck, but don't let that stall you from keeping going and keeping trying, because that's going to take you farther than if you let that fear paralyze you. Now, I don't know how much you guys follow Gary Vaynerchuk, but if you don't, follow him. Like, all his little podcasts are gold. All his little videos are gold. And one thing that I'm going to kind of branch off here with the failing forward is to own your DNA. And I don't know how familiar, but he really talks about embracing who you are and being really self-aware as to the kind of person that you are, what works for you, and being real with yourself. And for me, this is kind of the speech that I had to give myself lately, is that for a long time, I tried to market myself and I tried to run my business according to what I thought other people thought I should do. And I don't know if that makes sense. And I know you guys don't really know me that well, but I've got a filthy sense of humor and I'm rough around the edges. I've worked in a male-dominated industry most of my life. I could outswear you all, and I've got a very filthy sense of humor. But for a long time, I thought that I had to market to mummies, because that's what everybody did, and to women, and be kind of polite and proper and stuff like that. And I wasn't enjoying it, so I didn't stick with it. And so what I've been noticing, though, is that a lot of the people who I am actually, without even trying to attract to my business, are men. And I don't mean that in a dirty sense. It's just because I'm rough around the edges, and so I can banter with men better, and you know, I seem to connect better with men. And so now I've kind of had to admit to myself in the last month or two is that I shouldn't limit myself to just targeting just women, because then I'm excluding people who are actually naturally drawn to what I have to offer. And owning your DNA and knowing what works for you is something that will take you farther, especially when you're getting frustrated, because maybe if you're frustrated and the system isn't working, maybe if you can do some self-reflection and think about, well, maybe I'm not being real with myself. Maybe I should try something else and not be afraid to try. Even like making a minor change to how you do things could be the thing that takes you farther and closer to your goal. And another thing, and again, the disclaimer, free groups are great. Okay, and everything that Greg teaches is fantastic. But for me, I spend my entire life running around like a chicken with my head cut off. And down the road, I think I'll have a lot of success with the free groups and adding friends and inviting. But as it stands now, that is not something that I'm good at, because I'm too sporadic. I'm like a squirrel on crack half the time. And it doesn't work in my life because I'm not good at it. So finally, I had to be self-aware enough to take a step back and again have the courage to try something different. And if you guys grab a piece of paper, if you're at all interested in the Engage Coach Network, in the files section under the team calls, there's a webinar by John Tantillo about MailChimp marketing. I think that's what it's called, Greg. Marketing with MailChimp. Anyway, don't let the name deceive you. It is gold. And if you're interested in learning how to build a website and how to build a blog, let the porn expert help you out here. I can totally show you how to do that. It's so freaking easy. You can totally do it. And John teaches a way of running his business that is a little bit different than just running the free groups. Very, very good information there. And for me, the self-awareness comes back to the fact that I had to admit to myself that I was not good at the free groups right now, so don't be afraid to try something else. And again, if it doesn't work out, it's not a bad thing, because you're always going to learn something that's going to take you one step closer to where you want to be. And for me, this is something that's really kept me from quitting. And over the years, there's been peaks and valleys. There's been good times and bad things. But the one thing that has kept me going is the fact that even if you never make a dime from this business, you will always come out the end a way better person, because everything that you do day in and day out is going to teach you something. It's going to give you a skill that you can use in the rest of your life, and it's going to make you a better person. And all the successes will do that, but the failures will do that tenfold. And I've tried and flopped at a lot of things, and a lot of those things have taught me a great deal. And yeah, so don't be afraid to try stuff. So I'm just checking my notes here. Also, again, disclaimer, everything that they teach is fantastic, but don't be afraid to think outside the box too, and try something entirely different too, because that's how the new ideas come, right? Like that's how the the innovations and the trends start. So you never know which one of you guys can be a real trendsetter, and can be a leader in the business by coming up with an idea that nobody else has tried too. And just because nobody else has tried it doesn't mean it can't work. And good example of this is that video call by Josh Spencer. Again, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. Josh Spencer, guy's a branding genius, and he has recreated his whole look from being like short hair, kind of preppy college shirt, pretty boy, to like beard man, hoorah, beer drinking surfer. And the guy's bringing in the bucks like you wouldn't believe. And so he's doing something that a lot of people aren't doing. He's a total trendsetter. So don't be afraid to try even just little things that nobody else is doing, because you never know when you're going to hit gold. Now, I've got one other story and a few questions for you guys. I've got a couple other stories. Now, this is not Beachbody related, but I want to tell you guys a story. And the last kind of point that I want to make with you guys is to listen to your gut. Okay, in this business, do not quit, because everything is going to make your life better. Even if you never make a dime, your life is always going to be better. But listen to your gut. Now, I'm going to tell you a story, and I hope it doesn't sound like I'm bragging. I don't mean to tell you this to sound like a bragger. So I don't know if I have any other fellow Canadians on the call here. Go Canada. Anyhow, Greg's coming to Canada sometime. We're hoping January. Hot tubs in January outside. Anyhow, up here, I'm the race director, creator of a race called Laps for Life. Now, I don't know if you guys have heard, there's this rare disease. Google it if you're bored. It's called Batten disease, Batten. And to give you the kind of the condensed version is that Batten disease is a rare disease. The disease that my kids have, not my personal kids, but the kids that I work for, they don't live much past their 12th birthday, and they generally start displaying symptoms when they're about 4 or 5 years old. And one night I found out that this little girl in the same nursery school as my son had been diagnosed with this disease. She was 4 at the time, and she wasn't going to live much past her 12th birthday. And I already knew somebody who had Batten disease. So this gut feeling, it just came over me, and it said, you got to do something about this. You got to plan this race. Now, I don't know if we have any runners or marathoners in the crowd, but planning a marathon or planning a race is a hell of a lot of work, and it could flop like in a major way. I listened to that. For some reason, I could not stop listening to that gut, that voice that said, you got to plan this race, you got to help this family, you got to help this other family, you got to do something. I went downstairs. I didn't even ask anybody permission. I just went down and I said, I'm going to plan this race. I'm going to raise money for these kids. Fast forward 5 years, this year was our 5th year anniversary. And I'm telling you, this could have flopped in a major way. I could have embarrassed myself. I could have lost hundreds of dollars of my own money. But in the end, the race somehow took off. People embraced it. In those years, we found 2 more families who had kids with Batten disease, which put us at 4 kids. And we just found another child this week. That's 5 kids in Manitoba who have Batten disease. Whereas in all of Canada, there's 13 kids. 13, 5 of them live in my community. And in those 5 years, we've been able to raise tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars for these families. We've been able to raise awareness. We've been able to change their lives in ways that you'll just never imagine. One of our families told us that they would be completely screwed if we hadn't started raising money for them, because they get screwed over by the Canadian healthcare system for everything. They have to pay for just about everything out of their own pocket. My lesson here is that if I had not listened to my gut and had the guts to take the risk to try this, these families never would have been helped. We would have never been able to help these families. And so what I want you guys to know is that as you build your business, if your gut is telling you to try something, then try it. It might pan out, it might not, but don't worry about that, because there are far more rewards in this financial success, or that come from even just going through the process and trying things. You learn things, you see the business from a different perspective, you meet different people, and you become a more creative and a stronger person too. And that is what will get you to success. And to close, I was just watching a movie before I jumped on the call, and I was thinking how talented, you ever go to a concert and you think, wow, those guys are really talented. I wish I could be like that. They're such good singers, or they're such good hockey players, or they're such good actors. I wish I could be as talented and have that kind of gift, and be that kind of successful. But the thing of it is that there is no difference between like the top athletes or the top singers or the top performers or anything. There's no difference between those people and us. The only difference is that they embrace their DNA, they embrace their talents, and then they had the guts to put it into action. They had the guts to take the risk and make it happen. And they could have flopped on their asses too, but they didn't. And I think everybody here has talents and has loads of things to offer that maybe haven't even really tapped into yet. So don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to fail. Nobody's going to laugh at you. If anything, I think people respect you for going through the journey. So, and I'm going to need Greg's help here because I can't see everybody on the call because I'm on my own iPhone. But what I want to hear from you, and I'm going to, you've got a few things to talk about. You can talk about when it comes to your turn, if you want to. Have you tried something and had like a belly flop failure, and have you learned from it? If you can beat my porn story, you get 10 points. And or maybe, if you can't think of a flop story, maybe is there something that you'd like to try but you just haven't done it yet? Because there's loads of things out there to try, right? And also, if that doesn't float your boat, then maybe talk about, is there a part of your DNA that you are embracing, that it's working for you, or you need to embrace? And again, case example, my filthy sense of humor, that attracts more people than anything for some reason in my business. As soon as I started making funny videos that were a little bit cornball, that's when I started having success. Go figure. So yeah, I don't know. I hope I didn't bore you guys to tears.
No, thanks, Jody. And also, I mean, it's great. Some great points, like what's working for me may not work for you, but also what was working for me last month may not be working for me this month.
Yeah,
and
totally.
I fail all the time. It's like my last free group was a complete failure. Not a single person was interested. I always hear coaches like they say, oh, you should have everybody fill out a form. Yeah, I tried that. Not a single I couldn't get anybody to fill out a form, or, you should have people sign up for BOD free trial. I cannot get anybody to sign up for the free trial, but that doesn't mean that it's wrong. It doesn't mean that the coaches are giving you bad advice. I mean, because it could work great for you and your market, and it just doesn't work for me. Just like Jody said, some things that I do really well don't work for her. So you got to figure out what works for you. And if it's not working, that doesn't mean quit. That means try something else, right? One of the things, Jeff Hill talked about that at Summit. He said, what do you do if it's not working? You try something else. And who was he? Do you remember that, Jody? Who was he asking?
Yeah, I remember what you're talking about. Yeah, but you just keep trying.
Yeah, he basically said it was like some test pilot. Like, well, what do you do? When do you eject? He's like, never. You just keep trying. You just keep, that's your job, right? So.
And part of it is that, like, for me, I've also had to learn that you have to stick with things to see if they are going to work. You got to have some perseverance too.
Yeah. So how do you want to do it? Should we call on people, or see if people want to volunteer?
Can anybody beat my porn story? No, I'm kidding. You're good. Okay, I missed that on the chat. There was something. I can't see hardly anything on my phone, so.
Aaron, do you want to take yourself off mute? I can help you. Aaron, are you there?
Yeah, hold on.
Go ahead.
Hold on. I gotta find it. Am I off mute now?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, there I am. Okay, sorry, I didn't know. Yeah, so that I sent it in the chat if anybody saw it. But yeah, I'm currently I undertook City Hall, so I've never fought for anything like this before. But the town is being petitioned to have a Taco Bell put up in like I don't want to say it's like the center of town, but it's in a part of town where it just doesn't fit the whole landscape. I'm not against, the idea of a fast food restaurant. It's just not, it's not appropriate where it belongs. And it just doesn't fit our little quaint town of basically family run businesses, including 90% of the restaurants are all family run. So I have to present my case in front of the village board a week from tomorrow. So, and I could totally lose, and I could be alone, and I could have people to fight with me. I'm making flyers. I have to do research. I'm watching other videos of other town halls that fought against a halfway house that I'm for. So, I'm totally blind on this. So
You're picking on poor little Taco Bell.
Yeah, I know, right? And people are joking, and and the first comment that I've seen pretty much a lot is the best drunk food, 4 a.m. drunk food around. And we don't, it couldn't be 4 a.m. because I don't think we can have 24-hour drive-through here, but we might, I don't know, the ordinances may have changed, but I've been in this town for 44 years. So I'm hoping that I have a strong enough voice. So I don't know. And I mean, it's really a bummer because there's 3 locally owned taco places here from people that have been in this town for a long time. And I don't even know if they know that this is being proposed. So, cause things they can get really sneaky. So, yeah, so I'm going to do my best, but that was a gut thing. And that was something that I just had to do.
Cool.
As dumb as it sounds, I know people are like, it's just tacos, and I said, it could be a Culver's, it could be a Chick-fil-A, it could be, a whatever. It's just a really bad location. Bad.
All right.
So anyway.
Cool. Who else has an example of failing forward?
I have one.
Okay.
All right, so I've tried fitness free group and really it doesn't work. Well, it wasn't working for me, so I let it go. I tried the clean eating group. That went straight down the gutter. So I did life workout using 21 Day Fix for my community, and everything free, and everything went down the drain. I had about 8 people the first time, and then every day started just missing people as I go up until I probably did like 2 weeks of attending and nobody showed up. But I still working on going to another community and giving it a shot. So like Jody and Greg said, it doesn't matter how many times you attempt. If you have the heart for it, it may not work at that certain time. Like Greg said, 1 month is good, the next month doesn't work. But I would say if it's in your heart, just keep on trying because eventually it will work out. But I'm also trying other avenues as well. And I do good with the, that free all access 14-day trial. I did well last month and I couldn't get them to do the challenge pack, but they did sign up, continue on. So they're on the 3-month process of VOD. So on top of that, I keep on top of them following up and saying how they're using it, how they're liking it, other avenues that they could try to see if I could also get them into Shakeology or even try Shakeology. Just to get them before that 3rd month hit, get them into the challenge pack and just show them the difference of purchasing another 3 months versus a whole year. And then for another, $30, you get Shakeology and everything else included. So I have all that set up, planned to follow up with them and get them to, join us. But yeah, that I thought doing it live and it's free and they get to do 21 Day Fix, with somebody there. I had a good plan and I had on the second week, I was going to do like a shake and share a live, with them and have them, taste like a little sample of Shakeology. I didn't even get to that. So the plans fell, but I'm still pushing for it again.
Yeah, great. Just to share a story with you guys, like I think I had talked about this in my free group training, how I had a big group where I kept adding people to it, and that stopped working for me. So then I started creating a new group every time, right? Because it was smaller groups and people were engaging, right? And that worked really well for a while. And now it's just kind of not really working anymore. And Facebook is now putting, more attention and I don't know. They're putting more focus on communities. Have you guys noticed that? It like recommends groups for you, right? That your friends are in, or things that you're interested in. It'll recommend these groups to you, right? And I notice, like, when I create groups, right? Like the Shift Shop group, right? I get 2 or 3 or 4 people that request to join it every single day. And these people aren't on our team, it's just they're friends of friends. Maybe they're searching for Shift Shop. I don't know. I don't know where these people come from, but they always request to join. And I get them requesting to join my coach groups all the time. I have that low carb coach group, and I have to say, no, you're not on our team, and I deny them, which I hate to do, But just think, if you had a community, right, where you get these people that join, right, and you can make friends with them and you can connect with them. And, one of the trainings, Samara, she's on, right, that she sent to me, and I sent it to Jody, right? It was, who was the girl? Sarah Dan, right? She's not a coach, but she has this video. If you guys are interested, Samara can share it, but she told us she was marketing it to coaches, right? And it was a webinar where she was telling us everything that we were doing wrong with our clean eating challenges, And like, one of the things that she mentioned is, we should have a community instead of, redoing a group every time. And so that's what I think I'm going to do, because I'm always going to change things up. So I'm going to create a community where I can run mini challenges, every month. I can run like a different challenge in that community, right? And I'll just keep adding to it. And once you get enough people in it, then Facebook's going to market it to more people, right? And people are going to join automatically. And plus, remember Shanna was telling us last week, if you guys were here on the call, how Facebook is tying your business page to your community, right? For some people, right? And I know that happened on one of my business pages for the DC Council. They asked me if I wanted to tie my page to a community, and we have a DC coaches group, so I did that, which is really cool. So you can see Facebook is putting the priority on communities and associating it to business pages. So now I could run ads for my community and get people into the community, right? So you can see where this could go potentially, right? As long as you're, keeping the community alive and you're running challenges within the community. So anyway, that's one of the things that, I'm going to be mixing up, that I'm going to be trying something new and, again, failing forward. So, oh, and on a story for you guys, one of my new coaches, Tom, not on the call, he told me that he started, in our new coach training, we tell coaches, to expand your warm market, go join groups that you're interested in, right? So he was interested in low carb, and he went and he found a group of 10,000 members, and it was about low carb or keto or whatever, right? Which is very popular now. And he was posting a lot in the group, and the admin asked him if he would be a moderator to the group. So he said, yeah, sure, And now he said that group's so popular that it gets like 20 people that request to join the group every single day. And he's the one who goes in and approves them. So he approves them, and he messages them when he approves them. And he says, you know, hey, welcome to the group, right? And he says, if you're interested, I'm running a low carb free 7-day challenge this next week. Would you be interested in joining? He's got 86 people in a week that joined his free group, you know, and they're like all engaged. He says they're all commenting and posting. He said he didn't even have to do anything, and they were all already like ready to go, because he's in the niche, right? He has his niche. He's in the group. He's recruiting people to his free challenge that are, you know, relating to the group. So, I mean, that's just great. I mean, I'm like, wow, you got it. Now he just has to figure out how to convert them into Beachbody, but he'll figure it out, you know. So, who else has a story or an example?
Hi, it's Samara. Thanks for your stories, Jody. It's really, really awesome. And good luck, Aaron. I ran my first group, and it was 17 people, and it seemed successful. It was on meditation, which is something important to me and a lot of people that in my community. And so then I was excited and ran a second group, and it sucked. It just failed. It was, you know, 7 of us and just me and this one other person who was already a customer. And it was the longest 2 weeks of my life. I swear, I just wanted to let's just close this down. And it really kind of took the wind out of my sails. I kind of was prepared for that for the first group, but not the second. And I really just wanted to okay, I need to step back and take 2 months to figure everything out. And then there were some seeds I had planted earlier when the people didn't kind of follow through on the first and second, who kind of called me out of the blue. And then the Chris Downing event in DC. So there were these other things that kind of kept me up. And then I just had to just go ahead and do a third group, you know, just kept me going. But that second group was a complete failure. But what I learned from it is I think I have to just make sure I have a little bit more structure. The meditation I had a structure every single day. And the second group was Shift Shop. And I thought people would be so excited to go on. They had to put their credit card in. So I figured they would definitely be, you know, would go on the site because they had to put their credit card in. And so 6 people put their credit card in and didn't even look at it. That was really shocking. But I learned to have more structure, even if it's a program, to say, this is what we'll focus on this day, this is what we'll focus on this day. And I think that hopefully maybe will help. But it was a complete failure.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, but what you hit on is you don't want to take a step back. Right. To reevaluate. You want to take a step forward and learn from what you did and change it, you know, because failure is going to happen, you know. Maybe, you know, what you could have learned is instead of creating a new group and getting people in the cold market who maybe you targeted the wrong people, you know, or whatever. But maybe if you had a community of meditation, right, and you had those same 15 people in there from the first group and you added, you know, 6 more, well, if you only had one person commenting, it wouldn't have been a disaster, right, because you still had the first 15 that were all into it, right? And they might have helped the next 6 to be, you know, more into it, and it, you know, might have been more of a success for you. So I mean, just, try different things and, you know, like you said, you know, exactly, you know, learn from Sarah Dan and, you know, make it your own and do more live videos and whatever.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
All right. Anyone else? John's got something.
Yeah, I got something for you.
All right.
I mean, pretty much the last couple months have been a series of failures, but also to move forward. I run multiple free groups, multiple people say, oh, how inspired they are and how grateful they are. But then some of them also chime in and say, oh, I love the fact that you don't constantly push, Beachbody, because they know that I'm a Beachbody coach. So then I recently started getting into the personal development. After much prodding from Greg and Armando, I downloaded the Audible, and I've listened to the Ask Gary V twice. And one thing he talks about is you've earned it if you're doing those kind of things. So now I'm just trying to figure out, okay, at what point do I start pushing that stuff in a free group? Kind of like, hey, I've lost a couple people to Beachbody On Demand. I see them posting on Facebook or Snapchat, and they were customers of mine. And then whenever I message them, they say, oh, I got it off someone else. And, meanwhile, I have posted and messaged people, but they say other people have talked to them, so they've transferred coaches because of that. So I'm just trying to find the balance in all that, as far as just how much do you message people and be persistent. I just finished the Compound book today, and he had said that persistence, typically 4 out of 5 people will respond. He'll lose 1 out of every 5 with being borderline annoying. And I know, Greg, you always say you just keep going until they say no.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I mean, I try to get them to say yes or no. Like, for example, you moderate some groups, right?
Yeah, yes. I moderate. Just like the stories you're telling, every story you've told is basically a combination of what I have going on. I'm an administrator. Same thing. I was commenting and got asked to be an administrator in a dental group. So now there's 11,000 people in there. So I'm constantly adding people through that group every day. I'm Facebook friends adding, and then we even have like strict policies as far as you're not allowed to advertise MLMs and you're not allowed to advertise other things. But then because I'm an administrator, I'm constantly like, hey, why don't we do like this Saturday? I was like, why don't we do Snapchat Saturday? So now I'm going to post this thing about Snapchat, add everybody to my Snapchat. And then we also do a spam Sunday once a month. So then I put my links on all that. So I've been adding people through that. And because I'm an administrator, it's very easy to get those things passed. Whereas, in other groups, they're not allowed.
Right. But instead of posting those things in the group, it would be better if like you kind of follow Tom's method where you welcome people, you private message them, you invite them to your free group or your other health community or your fitness community, and then that would work, and keep track of people and ask them, hey, I mean, like once a month, you could offer people, your challenge group or your free group or whatever, and just follow up with them. Like if you have 10,000 people in the group, like I told Tom, I said, you got a group of 10,000, I would take 100 a week and I would private message them, and then I would, go on to the next 100, and just say, just introduce yourself, say, hey, I see, we're in the same group together. I'm not sure if you are interested in health and fitness, but I'm running a free group next week. Would you be interested in joining? I bet you most of them would say yes if they got the message,
Yeah, I did post my free group on that last Spam Sunday, so I got some new entries from that. So, but no, I know what you're saying.
But don't rely on people to see the post, because a lot of people don't see it, and especially, you know, if they're not on Facebook. But if you private message them, then eventually they're going to see it, you know, or whatever, and do it that way, you know.
And one thing, can I cut in?
Yeah.
One thing that in that free video that you sent me that by Sarah Dan, she made a good point of something that kind of hit home with me, is that she said her advice was to be more blatant in the free groups about hoorah, how awesome the Beachbody programs were and how awesome Shakeology was. Because I found in my free groups, I would kind of do the breadcrumbing thing and try and be subtle, but I don't think I was being out there enough about how awesome it was, so they weren't really getting the point. And I don't know, I thought that was a good point, because in the free groups, I don't think I talked about how fabulous the programs were enough, so they weren't really getting that A, it's fabulous, and B, if they want to have the results, that's what they should do. So then by the time I messaged them about it, it was too late anyway.
Yeah. You got to try it, right? I mean, I've tried it, and I didn't get the same results as she got or said, you know, so I go back and forth on that, you know.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah. After Shalene's talk at Summit about keeping it on, you know, generating curiosity, right, is what she talked about. You know, don't tell them the secret sauce and give them all the information. Just try to generate curiosity. And so that's what I'm trying to do now. Just to.
Yeah, definitely on your pages for sure.
Well, I'm even doing that in my free group. So instead of saying, hey, come join my Beachbody Challenge and blah, 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 you know, I'm saying, hey, guys, if you want to take it to the next level and add a workout and have me as your personal one-on-one coach and have a meal plan that I provide you and all this stuff, you know, comment below. But I don't mention Beachbody or Shakeology or Shift Job or anything like that, you know. So.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap up. And does anybody have anything else? All right. Well, thank you, Jody. Thank you, everyone, for attending. And we'll see you next week. All right. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, you too.